LIANZA presents 5 minutes on project management. Project management can be daunting, but with a few tips and tricks from us here at LIANZA, hopefully you'll be on your way to keeping your project on track and within budget. Tip 1. Plan your project. The first thing to do is to make sure you know what you're doing. What has been asked of you? Who is going to be involved? And how much time and resources will your project require? To get these things established from the get-go, write a project plan. You can add to and alter your project plan during the course of the project, but it's good to have an idea of what you're doing before you get started. Things to include. What is the intended outcome of your project? Who will be involved in your project, and what will the various roles and responsibilities be? What is your budget? If you're in charge of this, make sure you plan it. Stay on top of your budget for the duration of your project. For more information, see LIANZA's 5 minutes on budgeting. List various goals of your project and establish measurable ways to track these goals. Tip 2. Assembling your team. When assembling your team, remember that everybody has different skills and strengths, and an effective project manager will recognize these and utilize them accordingly. You may have a team already at hand, or you can source individuals you think will fit well with a certain task or the project as a whole. It might be a good idea to add to your project plan a list of everything that needs doing and the type of person required, and then allocate team members based on that. All team members should have a clear idea of what is expected of them in terms of task output, communication with other team members, and time commitment. One of the most important things to remember when assigned with managing a project is that you are the go-to person for your team members. You need to cultivate a positive work environment, mentor team members, inspire your team, and be there to offer support. If people skills is not your forte, perhaps you could allocate somebody to ensure everybody is happy with their role and responsibilities. Throughout the project, communication within your team should be open, clear, and honest. Tip 3. Have measurable milestones and stick to them. Although this is something to include in your original plan, it is important to revisit it once your team is assembled and refine it using their particular knowledge and expertise. 4 phases to include in your project plan are as follows: initiation, planning, execution, and closure. Reflect on each phase once completed, and if needed, alter the upcoming phase to include new hurdles or changes. Tip 4. Report effectively. Maintaining honest communication with external stakeholders is extremely important when managing a project. If people have invested money or resources, then they deserve to know what's going on and will be a lot more helpful if things go awry. Keep a weekly reporting system or have weekly meetings with key parties. Another tip would be to store all documents, including your project planner, in an online storage system such as Dropbox or Google Drive. Tip 5. Be prepared for things to go wrong. Trust me, things will go wrong. No project is ever completed without some little hiccup along the way. By having a good plan in place, maintaining effective communication, and having strategies in place to deal with unforeseen events, you will be best placed to deal with project risks. If something does go wrong, step back and reassess how you're going to deal with it. If it's a budget issue, have a look at where you can cut back in another area. If it's a deadline issue, talk to stakeholders to discuss possibly extending it. Tip 6. Test your project. Did it meet expectations? Along the way, it's a good idea to evaluate and test what your team is doing. Are you on track to deliver what was expected? It should either meet or exceed the original expectations laid out in your project plan. If it's not, it says how you could alter it to meet these expectations. If you can't alter it, perhaps compile a report explaining why and the lessons you have learnt for next time. Project evaluation is an extremely important way to close the project. Compare victories and disappointments, planned ROI versus actual ROI. Tip 7. Celebrate. Make sure you celebrate project completion with your team. No doubt you and your team have spent a load of time on your project, so show your appreciation by celebrating in some form. A little gift, a coffee out, a dinner date, or even a celebratory email. Celebrating is key to ensuring a happy team and recognizing the time and energy that went into your project.